Cannabis.
Sativa.
Dope.
Indica.
Weed.
Leaf.
This is Leaf Life.
All things cannabis for all people.
Now, here are your hosts, Ricker and the Bearded Lorax.
We publish a free magazine called The Leaf that is available in print in 13 states at your local cannabis retailer and also available online at leafmagazines.com. My name is Mike Ricker, and I'm your host of Leaf Life with my co-host Wes Abney, also known as the Bearded Lorax.
I speak for the trees.
And there's Stashley.
The token female.
And Mary J. White.
The smoking female.
Welcome to the second half of this Leaf Life show called Brand House Bonanza. In just a moment, we'll go bigger into how designer brands will make a difference in new markets, and we'll spin Stash's wheel to see what products CHRISTA DANTINI, the media marketing coordinator and sales manager for MINGLEWOOD Brands, a successful brand house in Washington State, who's this show's Greg the Guinea Pig is going to be trying next. But first, it's time for Not For Nothing.
Well, not for nothing. I couldn't help but think it. Not for nothing.
As usual, Mary J. White, well, not always, but usually, this has absolutely nothing to do with cannabis.
This has nothing to do with cannabis. This has everything to do with a horrible, horrible fear that I think we all share. And what could that be? Dropping your phone in a porta potty.
Let it go. Yeah, that's why I have insurance.
In the porta potty. I'm sorry, but this happened to a really nice lady right here in Washington State a few months ago.
And by the way, just want to preface this.
Yeah.
If you ever see the sign Honey Bucket, it's not really a bucket of honey.
Son of a bitch.
No, that's right, Pooh Bear. It's not honey. Okay, so this lady's out in the damn Olympic Peninsula, right? It's
here
over
in the
there.
state of Washington.
Yeah, this is right here in our state.
Wow.
So she's over there. Well, she's using the porta potty, and I don't know why she had her phone out, but anyway, it falls in.
Yeah.
She's resourceful. She's a Washingtonian. So she disassembled the toilet seat, as one does, and then she took the dog leashes, because of course she had her dogs with her. She tied all the dog leashes together. She tried to fish it out with the dog leashes, and that didn't work. So then, wait for it, she ties them around herself and then attaches them to part of the porta potty and starts to lower herself head first into the porta potty.
No way. Get out of here.
Anyway, so...
was that phone encrusted with diamonds or something?
I don't know. She loved that damn phone so much. Anyway, she goes in head first into the porta potty. Okay? And she was alone. She tried to get out for 10 to 15 minutes. She couldn't get out.
Finally, she got stuck in there.
Finally, she gets her phone out of the stuff.
She got her phone.
And she was able to call 911. So the Rangers... The Rangers and responding firefighters rescued her, and they had to put something down there for her to stand on and then hauled her out with a harness.
Yeah.
Anyway, she had to go directly to the hospital and get washed off.
Wow. That's a lot of details right there, Mary J. White. We can see that's like the most animated story you've ever told.
I just visualized it so graphically.
And here's the gross part: you said it was in the Pacific Northwest on the Olympic Peninsula.
Yeah.
It's very possible that a bearded Lorax used that receptacle.
Well, the ranger said, and I'm quoting, "I've been doing this for 40 years, and that was a first."
Former lumberjack. Okay, well, not for nothing. Nothing to do with cannabis.
Nope. Let it go.
Yeah. Hey, Stash, let's spin that wheel and see what's you're going to be hitting or chewing next. There, Stash. There it goes. Oh, look at that.
I have some more Smokies fruit chews, but this one is sour watermelon.
Yeah.
I love sour.
Oh, she just ate two, Wes. You're only supposed to eat one.
Oh, no, they're only 5 milligrams,
There's rules?
aren't they? No, baby, not for you,
Not
sweetie.
for you,
No,
Stash.
no.
Yeah, like I said before, you're the cannabis garbage disposal. You can take as much.
Professional, okay?
Oh, that's right. Well, same thing.
Check out at Smokies Handcrafted on the interwebs. They are heading into 17 markets right now.
Wow.
And Smokiez is with a Z on the end, right, Wes?
Smokiez. And I talked with their owner and their VP of sales recently when we went fishing, and they said basically the same things we're saying here, which is it's all about those relationships, it's all about the network, it's all about trust, and being able to take your brand across the country. And they're even heading into Puerto Rico and looking at a whole bunch of different expansions. It ain't easy, but that's what we all want to do, is take our brand from here to there, just like we drink Kentucky bourbon outside of Kentucky. Everyone wants to try an edible that's, born here in the Northwest.
Puerto Rico.
Well, we talked
legal.
about that on another show, right?
Yeah.
We did.
Scuba diving and cannabis, the destinations.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico is one of them.
No kidding.
They're opening like 300 dispensaries, is what I've heard.
Yes.
So it's legal in Puerto Rico.
It is.
Does that count as like an 18th state?
Well, it is
Unfortunately,
part of
no.
it is
territory.
considered
It's
a
a
territory of the United States.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Not a state yet.
Dude,
Needs
you
to
know
be.
how smart that is for a country like Puerto Rico? Because that will obviously increase their tourism revenue because people will come smoke weed now.
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
well, when they had that big earthquake or hurricane,
Smokies.
we didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, FEMA doesn't really help them. So it's great that they have the tax revenue coming in from cannabis
Yeah.
now. Hell yeah.
That was kind of
Get it, guys.
Was that a Trump decision?
That
wasn't it?
was a Trump thing with the paper towels.
Yeah.
Hurricane, not a earthquake. Sorry, I was wrong. Hurricane.
And that
hurricane.
sour watermelon was delicious.
It is really good.
So as we talk about, designer brands in new markets, Smokiez is a designer brand. Do you have to maintain that level of quality to work with a brand house? I know you guys work with upscale brands, but could a mids company expand into other markets and still find a home with a brand house?
Absolutely. I definitely, if that's what that brand house is looking for. I think we as Minglewood, we pride ourselves on kind of having the upper echelon. We're not looking to go into a more mid-level brand, but same concept. Be consistent. If that's what your niche is, then be consistent with that.
So that's where the brand house becomes a brand of itself, right?
You could say that, yes.
Because if it came from Minglewood Brands, then you can trust it to be quality.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
eventually more cheap weed is sold than expensive weed statistically. So eventually there are going to be brand houses for, lower or mid-grade products. And again, it's not, the worst weed in a dispensary here in Washington 20 years ago, if you were of smoking age, you would have died to smoke.
Loved it.
So it's all, we're all kind of spoiled with getting really good weed.
And the hash, oh my God.
All of it. But there is a demand for that. And another thing that we've seen is that brands or products that we kind of take for granted in the Pacific Northwest or in California, when they go out to the East Coast, these new strands or these new products, they're a huge hit. Because the East Coast is, 10 or so years behind us in terms of brand development and exposure. Not a dig on you East Coast listeners, but just you haven't had as much time with legalization and relaxed weed laws.
Even in Las Vegas, there's very few licenses. There's very few retail licenses, but they're so far behind us in quality, like rosin and live resin, and that almost doesn't even exist for under $100 a gram,
Is a part of that because they've been growing weed on the West Coast for so long, and obviously the climate? Because you can't grow weed outdoors in Vegas.
No.
Is it? Does anybody know?
Yes. We've had relaxed weed laws and we've had, a chance. That's why so many of the dominant companies and brands have come from the West Coast, is because we just have had more time. But now as things are starting to catch up, it's really about a race of, if you can establish a good brand in Washington, Oregon, or California, if you can succeed there, then you can easily take that to Oklahoma or to New York or to Florida. And so that's what everyone is trying to do. But not everyone does it very well. And then there's also the overhead, part of it. If you're a weed grower here in Washington and you invested millions of dollars in your facility and all the things, and you have a great brand, you don't want to go build another $5 million facility in Oregon and a $5 million facility in New Jersey and a $10 million facility in Florida. You want to partner with someone who's done that, who can grow the same strains and follow the same processes or meet your quality control standards. So then you can have your product in another state. And that's what Cookies has done well. And also not well with some of their rollouts. And they're the biggest in the room. We had, in the cannabis room, we had Burner on our cover of our culture issue. Lots of respect for them. But it's the same thing. You can have a great brand, great strains that they bred themselves, and then you hand them off to a partner. And if that partner isn't executing at that level, you're not going to succeed.
Right. I mean, who's overseeing the grow? I'm not a grower by any means. I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about a grow, but I do know this. It's hard to grow to scale. And even if you get somebody set up with the exact parameters of how you grow, at the end of the day, you're trusting a team of growers to produce the same type of quality weed that you have maybe in California that you're trying to duplicate in Washington State. It's not that easy.
And that's why we're seeing more edible companies, topical companies going to multiple markets, because it's a recipe you follow, which the most complicated recipe doesn't compare to trying to grow weed for 8 to 10 weeks and then cure it and trim it and bring it to market. Very hard.
Yeah.
But there are people, it's starting to happen. But we're, the edible companies, topical companies like Smokies are leading that charge going around the country, where you can get the same product in Oregon or Washington or, somewhere in the Midwest like Oklahoma. And I think that's new for weed, because it's always been, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. That's what I tell my kids. It's like,
that's right.
You get what you get.
Glad you got it.
Exactly. And so now to get weed that's consistent, or get cannabis products like HELLAVATED, which is the same in every market.
Or Plug Play.
Plug Play,
their distillate,
example.
That's a recipe. So we follow their parameters, and we're able to develop or duplicate very similar flavors, if not identical flavors, to what the cannabis or California market has. They've done really, really well in Washington State.
That's exciting.
And they dominate in California.
Yep, they're number one in California.
For vape cartridges.
Yes.
Wow, good for
Why
them.
distillate still?
People like it. They like the flavor. It's, still effects driven. So I see your face over there. Don't dog on distillate.
Well, we were just saying that we're just so bougie up here in Washington that we've had live resin for years now.
Well,
like, if it's not live resin, it's nothing.
And now you're getting solventless cartridges,
Exactly.
which is even better.
Yes.
So we're spoiled.
I think that there's something for everybody, though. I mean, definitely there's going to be people that don't want to smoke distillate, but then there's a cult following for Plug Play, and they want that freaking distillate. They want those flavors. Their strain Jolly Lolly tastes like a freaking grape fun dip. It's amazing.
And we talk about that at the magazine, where, we're all like heady $80 gram rosin dabbers, but there's a huge market for cotton candy vapes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for bubblegum flavored, distillate. It might not be our preference, but, even at the magazine, like, especially for the Leaf, we have to represent the whole market.
Right.
And understand what those consumers out there actually want. And some people look at an $80 gram of rosin and think you're crazy. I could buy 3 carts for that. And, it's not necessarily that someone's right or wrong, but it's all about preferences. Some people drink Budweiser, some people drink delicious Great Notion, which is brewed here in Georgetown and elsewhere. But you can't really hate on someone for making their own choice.
No.
And that comes back to the whole brand house idea of, you can take brands from market to market, hit different segments, and understand that there are consumers for all these different areas.
Yeah, it's subjective at the end of the day. Even with the best weed in the state, you can take the best strain, K Savage's Baccio Oreos that's being featured in your
It was our
magazine.
strain of the month for
Yeah.
our June Northwest Leaf edition.
Yes.
Nice.
You
That
could
was
take it
delicious.
to one store
K-Savage.
and they could sell out in a day, and then you could take it to another store and maybe their consumer base just doesn't care for that strain and it doesn't do as well. Weed is so subjective at the end of the day.
Yeah, Stash doesn't think so. Those edibles are starting to kick in, by the way.
Hey, it's okay
Unbothered.
to
I
have...
sell $5 joints, dude. What the hell are you talking about?
You're a connoisseur.
Yeah. Would
Yeah,
you
but it all
smoke the
pays
$5
the bills.
joints?
Like, I understand that, whether it's hot dog water or shake off the ground, it all pays the bills at the end of the day. It's all weed. And everyone, some people like R&R, some people like, some upper scotch or something. It just is all preference.
Yes.
Yep.
1000%.
And that's why weed is so beautiful, because you can have all those different options, all those different flavors, and it's really a choose your own adventure. Just like when we spin Stash's wheel, right down to the suppositories that Rickard loves to joke about.
All right, Krista, now it's time for you to play Which is Higher.
Okay.
Digging deep and asking the question, which is higher?
Okay, Krista Dantini of Minglewood Brands. Some fire-ass weed in that house. Which is higher, the giant sequoia tree that proliferates here in the American Pacific Northwest, or the common Douglas fir?
I'm going to say the Douglas fir.
She's absolutely right, Wes.
Yes, she is. That's right, girl.
Not only is she beautiful, she's also got brains, Wesley.
Felt like a trick question. Ricker loves to trick people.
The giant, it's 80 meters, the Doug fir. The giant sequoia is about half that size at 41 meters.
What's a meter?
It's like 3 feet.
Oh, it's like a foot and a half.
A yard?
Just like I said.
No, it's a yard and a half, sorry. Number 2, which is higher? Gas prices here in Seattle or gas prices in Portland, Oregon?
Oh, definitely here.
Oh, okay. Well, she's right.
Oh,
Yeah. I just spent the most money on gas that I ever have yesterday. It was horrible. It hurt my heart.
I'm sorry. But you know what? It's not a big difference. Seattle average price for a gallon of regular unleaded right now, today as we record on the day that you're listening, is $5.24. The average price in Portland is $5.23, only a penny.
Well,
my goodness.
I felt that penny.
The average price for a gallon of regular gas in California is $6.19. Second most expensive in the States is Hawaii, which is not really the States, but ancillary, $5.44. Isn't your fiance from Hawaii, or is it
Samoa.
Samoa?
Yes.
Cool. Right on.
Yeah.
Junior, right?
Yep.
Hey, Junior, what's up, man? All right.
You got you a Samoan girl.
She does.
Told you I like a man.
Hey. Yeah.
Yes.
And number 3, which is higher? Willie Nelson seshing his way through a pound of Blue Dream while watching Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke? Or Ashley Herkett, this show's pinch hitter for the Greg the Guinea Pig? You, actually.
Well, I would have to say Willie Nelson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Totally,
For sure.
right?
Yeah.
Hey, give the Smokies another 40 minutes to kick in, and she's going to be floating too.
Krista, where can we find you on social media?
Minglewood_brands_wa.
And you personally?
Nowhere. I'm a ninja. You can't find me.
Fair.
Oh, you
Yeah.
sneaky girl.
Yeah.
She's like the
Best.
Sasquatch, Wes.
Check out Minglewood. What are some of your other brands? You got K Savage.
We have Flower Shop by G-Eazy. We have K Savage. We have High Tide. We have Upon a Cloud. We have Plug Play, that's right. Leaf Concentrates. OPP Concentrates. Yeah.
You guys are crushing it.
We're about to roll out Clout King.
Cloud King.
Yep.
From California.
Yep. They're coming next month. So, yeah.
Thank
we're
you
popping.
so much for being on the
you.
Leaf Life podcast.
Thank you.
Hey, Wes, next week we're going to be talking about tinctures.
My favorites.
Download this and all Leaf Life episodes at leafmagazines.com. You can listen to all of our shows on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you listen to podcasts. And have you found us yet on YouTube? Go to Leaf Life Podcast V2. All right, here comes another episode of Stony Baloney, which is also available at leafmagazines.com. And please be kind to animals.
Your hosts for Leaf Life are Mike Ricker and Wes Abney. Leaf Life is produced by Mike Daly. Some of the music heard is provided by purple-planet.com. Every bit of cannabis you use is female, so please respect the ladies.
Leaf Life is brought to you by Leaf Nation, featuring Alaska Leaf, Oregon Leaf, Northwest Leaf, Northeast Leaf, Maryland Leaf, and California Leaf. On the shelf now in your local retailer.
Please stay tuned now for this week's edition of Stony Baloney by Mike Ricker.
Stony Baloney by Mike Ricker.
Sex is like baseball. To be great at America's favorite pastime, you only need to succeed 3 out of every 10 attempts. We're talking about getting hits in baseball here, not getting lucky between the sheets. However, for you men out there, the numbers are pretty much the same. For every 10 times you try, if you get action 3 out of those, you're doing better than most of your neighbors. Unless, of course, you live next to a college dormitory or a retirement community. Sorry for the visual. One reason why getting laid has been compared to hitting a home run is because it's not always easy. It takes skill and practice. I mean, if you're uncomfortable in the batter's box, getting to first base can feel very intimidating, much less advancing to second and third. And none of it matters unless you get to fourth base. That's called home plate, which is coincidental because fourth base is where babies are made. And those babies end up living at your home, endlessly screeching at an empty plate. Anyway, to effectively score and win, you need to be physically and mentally adept with good timing. You want to keep the ball in play because that's where the action is. If your swing is too erratic, you're not going to find the gap on the field. And you only get 3 strikes until you're back in the dugout watching the other players take their shot. Also, it's good to keep the pace moving because the more the game drags on, the longer it takes to get to that victory. By the way, did you know that the Major League Baseball Players Union just announced that each team can now carry 14 pitchers? There are 30 teams in the league. That means there are 420 pitchers overall. Looks like baseball is catching up with the times.
Stony Baloney. Some of the wardrobe, including Ricker or Wes's sick lids, is provided by Grassroots California. Check out the dopeness at grassrootscalifornia.com.
These products have intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming. Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug. There may be health risks associated with consumption of this product. For use by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children.